Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. My name is Webbo, here for the 7th round of our 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship. Of course, we're here for the top tier of Formula Racing. We're about to get underway for the fabulous sprint race, 10 laps on soft tyres around the Red Bull Ring. Roland and AMAC lead with a reverse championship grid situation and formation. Vader, of course, will be at the very back of the grid as well, as we've got 5 lights on for the sprint. And it's dropped the clutch and go. A very cloudy start to the race for the conditions there, as the PSV racing car goes around the outside of the all-black Hector Motorsports on the towards the back vicinity, and AMAC fighting hard amongst themselves there on Team Gecko. And it's Vicinity who gets up into the lead of that particular pairing. Roland, though, still holds on to the outright lead of the race, but Vicinity may have something to say about it. Mappy in 5th is down the middle of the group here as they all go side by side into the next few corners. Looked like Vader, who was all at sea there, trying to navigate and find some kind of racing room with his prodigious speed advantage he tends to have here. Using the boost as well, but Vader gets into the 2 PSV racing cars. Possibly he was hit from behind down there as well, so this could all go very wrong for Vader, who muscles his way into 5th position. Beragos back in 8th, who's gained positions but not as many as Vader has, with Cristo in 10th, Jose in 10th now, because Pumpkin King is in 11th. Got Cristo in 12th, who dropped 2 places down. AMAC at the back of the grid. It all went wrong on lap 1 for AMAC, but Roland leads Vicinity as they cross the start-finish line for the first time at racing speed. It's Mappy in 3rd, Matt in 4th. Vader, after 1 lap, is in 5th position. And, well, he seems to be pretty unbeatable, even when given a massive disadvantage at starting the race the way he has done. Vader now in 4th place, and Beragos following through in 5th as we run through there. And Vader is right behind his teammate, who I'm sure won't make it difficult, but it was, I think, it was one of the drivers who made a mistake there. Matt down in 12th, unfortunately, and losing positions then right at the start of the race. Unfortunately, Vader has disconnected from Hector, but trust, he is in P3. He's got past his teammate now. Vader on the 2nd lap here, using the boost, using every inch of the outside of the exit of turn 6 through into turn 7. Vader is in 3rd position. Roland leads ahead of Vicinity, with Mappy in 4th, Beragos in 5th, and Soulshock in 6th place right now. Let's get you a driver eye view of the action. Remember that at bottom of your tower, it is Vader who is in fact in the in that P3 that appears to be empty on the screen. As we run on, we've got Run DMC in 7th, we've got Jose in 8th. V8 is in 9th position. Uncharacteristically slow start here for V8, who's been trading those podium positions with Beragos while watching Vader pretty much win everything, with the exception of the previous round of the championship there. V8 now putting in those faster times, maybe just keeping his powder drive for the end. Pumpkin King has front wing damage. AMAC has rear wing damage, but has got back past Cristo and Matt, who also has front wing damage. Reading between the lines, and sometimes reading the lines themselves, I feel like Matt has not been having the best luck or run of the balls this season at this stage, and a P13 in the sprint is not going to improve anything for him. Roland getting away very nicely now, 2.8 seconds away from Vader. Roland has used nearly half of his boost. Vader in a similar state of recharge there. Quick hello to Wask and to Hervas here who join. We've got Wask saying, is it a rainy race? Well, the sprint is essentially on the race day Saturday, and appears to be cloudy number 6 on the weather tiles. Whether there are any randomized elements of the race day feature race condition remain to be seen here. Beragos now putting in the fast times in P5, the fastest man on track on this 4th lap. Beragos, as he hunts down Mappy. Mappy's teammate, of course, Vader. So Mappy knows that Beragos represents the Brokaga green versus red situation here, and well, certainly Beragos using the overtake in the short shoot between turn 5 and 6 and getting ahead of Mappy. They're all on the same tyre compound now, by the way. We are expecting pretty heavy tyre wear through the course of today's feature race. It shouldn't feature as part of the sprint until maybe lap 7 or 8 here, but I do still think the drivers will be concerned with track limits. Soulshock peels across the inside to pay off a timing penalty there. Pumpkin King gets back past ahead of Soulshock. Got Christo in 11th, we've got AMAC in 12th and Matt in P13 in the Hector Noir version of the livery. Roland leads now is down to 2 seconds only, the number 82 there ahead of Vader, who has picked up a 1 second penalty. In my pre-race chat with Vader, he was saying that track limits are absolutely astonishing through turns 9 and 10. Very difficult to avoid a penalty if you understeer. Even if you lift, you still seem to get heavy penalties around there because of the time gain, the potential for time gain on the outside of the track. We've got V8 fighting with Jose. No, excuse me, V8 fighting with Mappy, who has dropped right back. Mappy in the course of that lap. I don't know if we're in time to catch what happened with Mappy to put him back there. We are not. So Mappy down in 7th, Jose in 8th, Soulshock in 9th. Trust me, unfortunately, cameraman is stuck looking at that grass in the infield there. Soulshock with a personal best sector at this stage, starting to use some of his boost. Pumpkin King in 10th, Christo 11th, AMAC 12th, Matt in 13th. Roland leads now by 3 seconds because Vader's penalty cost him around a second that time round. However, saying last and first corner are very difficult to take fast without picking up penalties. I think Vader was saying to me that the first corner, the worst you're likely to get is a half-second penalty through turn 1, but a full second to a second and a half through turns 9 and 10 are absolutely possible. Beragos in 3rd, can see Vader up ahead of him. Vicinity started on the second row of the grid, is still essentially on the second row in P4. Remember, we had reverse championship grid order. We still have the qualifying for the feature race and the feature race itself to come as well, of course. Run DMC is in 5th place and has had some good pace and some great performances so far this season. Run with a very consistent run with 2 podiums in the last 2 races. Run DMC coming very close to an outright win earlier on as well. I seem to remember at Tokyo, Run DMC runs on wide on the outside. It's got very good pace. Looks like almost too good, almost pushing Vicinity through turn 10, and then Run DMC breaking that a little bit earlier and having to play go for some avoiding action there. There is up close to the Team Gecko racing team livery of Vicinity. Run DMC just concentrating on the apex exit. It's really difficult to get the power down on the inside on the exits of these corners, turn number 3 and number 4, 5. But Run DMC managing it very nicely, partly due to Vicinity running a little bit long on the brakes and the entry. The soft tyres are doing just fine here for this 10-lap race. Soft tyres are going to go and go. And apparently the hard tyres would even possibly do the entire race distance of 53 laps, but far too slowly for them to be a viable long-term race, long stint race tyre, I should say, potentially later on. Jose paying off a penalty, getting passed now by Soulshock there in the PSV Racing gold colours. Soulshock in P8, Jose in 9th, Christo in 10th, Pumpkin in 11th, and AMAC followed by Matt. Matt now catching AMAC very nicely. We were expecting to see those 2 drivers near the front of this sprint race for much longer than they actually managed. Here is Roland versus Vader. Roland, a relative newcomer, of course, but has impressed since he joined us. Vader getting the pass done using the boost. Doesn't want to enter into a braking overtake battle there. Vader now in the lead of the race, and get used to this picture, I would imagine. Although for those of you who watched the previous race live with us, the story was, as some people suspected, that Vader lost his VR helmet tracking and had to retrack that helmet, recalibrate the helmet just on the start lights last time out. Vader is just a beast, says Herves. Do they have enough fuel? They're into the final 20% of fuel if it is glowing. Sorry, 10% of fuel if it is glowing red there on the dial. Do they have enough, says Hervas? I think for the sprint there will be a little bit of management, but I think it will become a slightly different picture in the feature race later on. As Vogue says, let's go, Roland. Like deployed, appreciate it from the VR Mafia there. Excellent stuff. And we got Roland then on the boost. Can't use too much boost because it does affect your fuel usage. Thanks to Redux for the info that the Super Formula cars allow more air and fuel mix to enter the engines. It's not even an electrical boost for a limited period of time throughout the course of our races. Personally, I would rather get rid of it. But I understand the need to have a little bit of boost, something going on. The Uruguay international, I should say, it says on the back wing, and I did see some. If we can, I can possibly show later on the helmet with the Uruguayan sun on the helmet of Roland's car and the Uruguayan colours. Fantastic to see such international representation here at the VR Sim Racing World Championship. Vader is hot on the heels here. Will Vader be able to catch 1.2 seconds before the end of this race? We're on the final lap of the sprint. Vader leads Roland and Beragos. Beragos now with the fastest first sector of the race so far. Run DMC in P4. Amazing how these top drivers have ended up so close to the top 5 here. The top 4 in the championship are currently in the top 5 positions of the sprint, despite starting at the very back. V8 will do well to hang on, I think, to that position though, picking up a 2-second penalty through the first half of the lap. This is Vader going through the second timing beam over the apex slightly of turn 8. You can use the red and white curbs, I'm told. I wouldn't dare as he goes into turn number 9 through the final turn. Then there's a big bump in the middle of that turn, getting the power down nicely, and Vader wins the sprint race here at Red Bull Ring to nobody's surprise. Roland in second though. Great performance from Roland ahead of Beragos and Run DMC, who weaves to the finish there to finish in P4. V8 does secure 5th in the sprint, Vicinity home in 6th. And then following them we have Jose Luis Cervantes in 7th, Mappy in 8th, and Christo home in 9th place. Plus half a second, that won't matter. Pumpkin King plus 2 seconds won't matter either, because Soul Shock is 11 seconds further back. Here he comes to cross the line and picking up another penalty as he gets there. Matt does not finish in last place, coming home in 12th. He was last for a big chunk of the race, and AMAC unfortunately starting near the front due to the reverse championship grid order, is back at the back of the grid, unfortunately, in P13. But your winner is Lord Vader, the reigning S1 world champion, who has taken 5 wins from the first 6 rounds, 5 feature race wins, and this, I believe, is his first sprint race win. The first sprint race we had earlier this season in round 3, he finished 4th from the back of the grid. Vader, though, winning the race. And just a reminder then of the finishing order for the sprint. We have Vader, Roland, Beragos, the podium. We don't necessarily have a podium for a sprint. They don't in F1. Run DMC in 4th, V8 in 5th, with Vicinity, Jose Luis Cervantes, and Mappy rounding out the top 8. Christo, Pumpkin King, Soulshot, Mac, and AMAC home at the tail half of our race there, just for the sprint race though, because we will be starting the qualifying very soon. A note there from Beragos to the main crowd, and I should really turn off this display, and I can't. I need to turn someone else's on and then off again, I think, unfortunately, because Vader has disappeared from Hector altogether. So let's not show people's settings when they make their changes, shall we? I think Black Evo's joined us. G'day to you, Black Evo, as he's cheering on Run DMC. 77 litres go in the car for qualifying, it seems. But the main problem here will be that the soft tyres are unlikely to do two back-to-back hot laps without starting to fade. I think there is a slight difference between the liveries of the PSV cars today. We'll try and have a look at that in detail later on. But I hope that you're going to help me out. It will be a relatively long race following a sprint as well, which I do struggle with a little bit. But I hope you'll help me out in the live chat today. Ask questions. Tune in to the Race Engineer link that I left pinned to the live chat today. Do check that out, and that will help you give us the intel that we ask for, things like Okay, qualifying about to get underway for our race. We've got 10 minutes here as usual, but a fairly short track might lead to certain traffic issues. Let's give you the best race information on screen as we possibly can as we get ourselves underway. It looks like Matt appearing to be first out of the pit lane here. There he is. Determined to get a good start, but also given the furthest forward pit lane, pit box I should say. No sound, you say. Can we just confirm sound is back for me? I'll go and change it. If it's not, I'll have to stop the stream if that is the case. I believe I did stop talking for a moment. Restarting the app worked. We did have a short pause on the stream, so hopefully that was the situation. But yeah, let me know. Just confirm you've got sound. Thank you very much, Hervas. Here is Matt then on his out lap, on his warm-up lap then for the run. Yeah, strange one that. Haven't heard a sound dipping out temporarily, but I did get a warning that the stream had paused. The feed had paused for a second and then was back on. Short moment afterwards. Let's give you somebody to watch in terms of their qualifying. I'll give you some Beragos, as here is Matt on his run in towards turn 1 over the exit curb very slightly, but no problem for Matt here. Nice clear track ahead of us as we do our best here. Hi to Mate as well. Apologies, hadn't said hello to you yet. And Dummy. A little bit of tyre complaint there, audibly, on Matt's Hector Motorsports SF23 here. As we go down into a very important turn 4. Great apex from Matt. Really hooked that one up very nicely. Remember, soft tyres may not even do 2 complete laps at at qualifying pace without having to then head in for a new tyre. So that I think that the plan would be to get yourself a banker lap, then come in and then go back out again for 1 or 2 flying laps at the absolute death of qualifying when the track is at its best and your fuel has worn off. Here we go, through turn 10 for Matt as he comes through. Very, very cloudy, moody looking day here for qualifying. Matt goes on a 111.5, Pumpkin King a 112.1. Here comes Jose Cervantes in P2 as we see Vader has pitted, didn't like that lap at all. Here comes Vicinity to go up to P3, a 112.0 for Vicinity. Soulshock heading towards the line. He goes third. Soulshock at 111.864. We've not had the ultimate fastest laps though. Roland goes P1 into a 111.153 as we have a look, see where everybody else is. Mappy has set a 113.1, very gentle first flying lap. Beragos has a penalty on this lap and didn't register a time the previous one, or it doesn't look like an outlap this one, but that penalty is going to hurt a little bit. Vader's picked up a half-second penalty running through turn 1 here on his outlap. Now we'll hope that he's got that early enough to have a better look at it. Let's see. I've just managed to restart Beragos's stream. I'm sorry about that, folks. Let me know when things aren't working. I can't keep my eye on absolutely everything at once. Vader in P11 here. It's just the message on his screen. So we'll just check in with everybody. We've got a similar situation for Run DMC. Picked up an identical penalty to Vader there on the run. We've got, this is Vader though, P11. Will he decide that he needs to spend his boost at the front half of qualifying to get a lap done here? No boost being applied just yet. 4 minutes into the session and Lord Vader starts his first flying lap. Into turn 1 we go. Not quite on the apex there, but carrying the speed through the corner nicely is Lord Vader. You're watching Beragos picture in picture, checking his mirrors there, making sure he's not holding anybody up. Beragos currently 10th position as Vader sets a purple first sector. Big surprise to see that one, but he's still not using any overtake on this flyer. Just surprised if they're able to use an entire tank of overtake boost on one flying lap at the end. Vader just tiptoeing around the outside, doesn't want to have both wheels on the curbs while he's accelerating on the exit of turn number 5. That's very wide from Vader again. Will that be a penalty for being off track? He's really pushing the limit here of the steward's patience, running to the outside. But yes, another 1 second penalty for Vader. That could spell disaster. I think he'll pay it on his outlap if he makes this calculation. But still, no hot lap from Vader. V8 has the fastest lap overall in P1 on a 110.7 as Roland tours in. Doesn't want to hold anybody up, I'm sure. Matt Debater with a really good P3 right now, a 111.5, but a big delta to the provisional pole. However, he sets a fastest first sector on his run downhill into turn 3 as he then gets onto the throttle for the longest period here. Down into turn 4 we go. Surprisingly quick corner, turn 4. Powering out on the exit of 5 and into turn 6 now. Again, the tyres complaining a little bit. Feeding the throttle on gently through turn 7 and 8. Heading towards number 9 now. Just keep it together and we're getting a potential purple lap here. Big bump on the exit of turn 10. Spits the cars out if you hit it wrong. And that's a personal best, but not the best, from Matt Debater, as we'll go down and see whether we can find Vader here on his outlap. We can. He's just finishing that outlap. He'll be slow on this section here as he takes his penalty. And then he wants to make sure that he allows that driver, that's Roland, to go through unencumbered, but doesn't want to take too much speed away, otherwise he won't be going through the final corner at the right speed here. Vader getting the power down, out onto the red and white curbs, but no further. No boost being used with 7 minutes elapsed So he's saving it all for one last flying lap, is Vader. Hot on the throttle on the exit curb of turn 1. Mappy sets a new record for him. That's a P10. Run DMC and Vader have not set times yet. Beragos is third. Roland is second. And V8 is in P1 as things stand. Vader getting the slipstream off the back of Roland. Has a purple sector on this flying lap. Everybody appears to still be waiting to use their boost right at the end of qualifying on that final hot lap. They're not expecting any rain, at least for qualifying as things stand, but we may see some randomized rain elements coming into play here. It is a rainy circuit, and it is S1R due quite a bit of rain, I'm sure. 0.369 faster than anybody through the second sector is Vader. Beragos got into the pit lane for another set of soft tyres, possibly his third of qualifying. We're not limited by anything other than time here, as Vader on the throttle could get a slipstream. Now is draining that boost tank, and he's spent it all in the final half of the lap. A 110.335 is nearly 0.4 of a second faster than V8, who has still not spent any boost. V8, I think he could well take this to Vader with that, because Vader's got no ability to push on this final lap. He just spent everything he had left in the second half of that lap, and he won't be able to get the performance out of the tyres either. Run DMC goes into second place on a 110.551. I imagine he's spent everything out of this set of tyres. Yes, indeed. 1 minute 15 seconds to go before the checkered flag will fall. V8 Eater, how is his first sector? I just cut away at the wrong point there for V8 Eater, didn't I? As now he's using that boost. You can see it just flashing red. Soon as he's not grip limited out of the corners, he'll have a hell of a run through. He might flatter to deceive through sector 2 here. Let's have a look. It's actually not fast enough at this stage. Now he squeezes that boost button once again. I thought he might save it for the end of the lap, but here we go, running through turn 9. Will that be a penalty? I wonder. That was quite wide. It's very ragged, and it's a round from V8 Eater. It's academic, but he gets a 3-second penalty as he closes out the session. Run DMC, I don't think, is going to be able to do anything. Roland has pitted as well. Let's join Beragos full screen now, as we'll switch over to somebody else. Maybe Matt Debater, and see what he is up to on this final flying lap here. But Beragos, I didn't catch whether that is a purple sector from Beragos, but he is the man with the capability here, if not necessarily the boost left to try and jump forward. I don't see Run DMC and V8 moving forward. Roland's in the pits. Vader has the pole position, a 110.335, but it's close. It is very encouragingly close between the two. I thought we might have had rain on the track, but I think it was a decaying spark from the car in front who is pushing right now. Checkered flag is out. This is it for qualifying. What can Beragos do with 0 boost remaining to him on this final flying lap? Through the final corner goes Beragos. Vader set another new record of 3:01 with no boost on the car at all. Beragos crosses the line 0.08 of a second slower than he's been before, but nearly a second slower than your pole position man. It is Vader once again who takes the pole by 2.5 of a second in the end. But I did think Run DMC has the capability here. V8 Eater or V848 there was very quick earlier in the season and in the session as well. So maybe we'll see something from them as they vie for that podium position. Beragos out of position for his high standards in P6. Jose, a very creditable 4th place in qualifying, with Roland in 5th, Matt in 7th, and Pumpkin King in P8. Hope you enjoyed that qualifying session. I'd love to hear your predictions for the feature race still to come, and we will focus in on Lord Vader here, not celebrating the Mandalorian movie on his helmet just yet, but I'm sure we'll be going to see it and buying all the Lego that comes out afterwards. As you can see, Roland's pit stop is still listed there, and he has the correct Uruguayan flag on his Hector display. Shows us from the United States here on my screen that I use. So Not ideal for me. That is your qualifying result then. Vader, Run DMC on the front row, followed by V8 and Jose. Roland in P5 and Beragos in 6th. Matt and Pumpkin King share row 4. Row 5 is AMAC and Soul Shock, and row 6, Vicinity and Mappy. Hopefully we'll get a a look at the start time for the race in a moment. Matt will usually give me an update, and that will allow us just to grab some snacks with a decent amount of warning. I know Brum ran out of popcorn in the rookie race, just one lap deep into the main race there. Okay, Matt saying, Vader's saying that Mappy needs 5 minutes. Please don't make this. Please don't make this as long as possible, Vader. A race will start at 8 minutes after the hour. 8 minutes after the hour for the race restarting. That will give us a chance to just take stock and grab a break, and we'll be back in 8 minutes past the hour, whatever hour that is for you right now. 8 minutes still to come, and we'll be right back for you. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready for the start of the race in less than 1 minute's time then to find out who can get the best out of this this fantastic run that we have on the championship so far. I do just need to make sure I have got Hector set up the way I want it. Like I say, 1 minute to go before the race, not even. As we get ready, I'm going to give you Soul Shock, who's going to start near the back of the grid. That will give us a good view of what is going on live here. Soul Shock just taking a quick visual break with his VR helmet just as I cut to him. I don't know why Run DMC is at the back of the grid there, but I think we will get things. We will get things as they need to be. I think Hector is showing as in qualifying mode at the moment. I'm surprised to see Mappy at the back of the grid as well. Let's hope that that we get our view back properly. Looks like Vader has reconnected. Mappy has also reconnected. So I'm going to give you Mappy's stream instead of Soul Shock's, because Mappy is noted as starting at the back here. And as I say, I don't quite understand why that is, unless there's some sort of penalty being paid. Mappy and Vader running restart protocols on their servers there. As Vox is watching, says good luck VR racers. Appreciate that, Vox. As always, we're getting ready for real marathon, and yeah, we will see what the weather looks like when we get onto the grid. I don't know if you can make out quite what I can make out on the with the forest background there for a second, but we will have a good look at how this all starts very, very soon. Matt saying starting soon, getting excited now as we build towards this 53 lap, almost Grand Prix length race around the Red Bull Ring in the Spielberg region of Austria. And there we go. We've been given the green light. Everybody is ready to get underway. Looks like V8 Eater is now dropping from Hector, unfortunately, so Matt has been given. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this at the moment. It's still qualifying display for Hector. I'm going to turn that off and hope that that it comes back to us, because we don't want any kind of issue for the race. So back with the action then. It's Vader and Run DMC who start on the front row of our grid here in Austria. We do have a little bit of moisture in the air. In fact, there are intermediate tyres on the front group, but V8 Eater started on the soft tyres. Is going to try and get through what appears to be 2 tiles of our time here on the dry tyre while the rain is falling. V8 Eater into P2. Beragos in 3rd place, also starting on the soft tyres. Beragos with a hell of a run down the inside on V8 Eater and will be later to the apex V8. But this time he manages to clear very nicely. Cyan Racing Team cars go by. What a fantastic view that was, as Beragos has is right in the mix there with V8 Eater as they head down in towards turn 4. Beragos just saying, you know what, I'm not going to be run around the outside again the same way you did the first time through. As we file past our camera position, there is a little bit of standing water. Most of the grid appear to have made the soft dry tyre decision here, with intermediate being the kind of second option. No other selection at this stage. Matt, Christo, Vicinity, AMAC all on the intermediate tyres, but Vader braved the softs, while I think certainly his front row colleague did not. So soft tyres appear to be the way to go here. We'll just have a look from Jose's point of view, whether there is a lot of rain on the camera or not. Well, camera visor, it doesn't appear to be very heavily raining at all. Certainly not as much as it did look at the in the lobby screen. As we'll just have a quick replay of the start of the race here. This is from Pumpkinkins P7, about in the middle of the grid as we pile into turn 1. Have to leave a little gap on the inside there. A couple of drivers running wide. Nobody in dire straits there at the back of the grid, and this is being passed and repassed right and left here from Pumpkin as he heads down into turn 3. Little nibble from the rear from his teammate. Lots of drivers getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of the corner. That was the first few corners then of the main race here today. The two Hector Motorsports cars of Pumpkin King and Matt in 8th and 9th, Vicinities in 10th, Christo in 11th, AMAC in 12th, and Run DMC, unfortunately, already at the back, having taken the intermediate tyres, has switched onto the softs, given that one up this time round. Several drivers have made pit stops. Let me just double check there on Matt has had a problem on those intermediate tyres. Pumpkin King has dropped places as well. Tell me they did not crash into each other. I've got a horrible feeling that that is exactly what they did here, the Hector Motorsports colleagues. Oh no, they crashed at the same point on the inters, with the intermediates probably overheating, but both crashing on the exit of turn 7 at start of turn 8. Vader leads by 2.5 seconds from Berikos as we go back to exactly what we would normally expect to see on our grid here. Vader ahead of Berikos with Roland in the mix as well. Team Cyan having a great start. V8 clearing Jose Luis Cervantes there. Jose won't take that line down if he can have anything to do with it. He cannot fight it. And it's V8 who makes his way by here. Straightforward run into turn 4 for V8. For once gets away nicely. Slight entanglement of wheels will have made Jose feel a little bit nervous on the exit there. But he gets in front, does V8 as they then clamber over the curbs, and it's going to be a matter of making the least changes possible, I think, to picking up the least penalties possible is going to be the key to good racing here today and a good finish. Roland, V8, Jose Luis Cervantes, 3rd, 4th and 5th, followed by Soul Shock, a good start from Soul, and Mappy likewise, choosing the correct tyres here. It's damp, it's a little bit greasy, the racetrack, but it's not awful. And we will see, perhaps it may worsen the rain. I think we've been fairly lucky so far. Actually, as I say it may worsen, the rain is absolutely worsening. Is this going to be a terrible situation for Run DMC, who has not been on the right tyres at any point so far this race? That is really, really tough to take when the conditions just do not come to your decisions there. By the look of the Hector Motorsports and Run DMC, those inters were not up to scratch there, as drivers will now start to tiptoe around. Looks like Vader's decided to pit here, and don't forget, this is important for our race strategy today. If the drivers pit and use the intermediate tyres, they will no longer have to change tyre compound or use 2 different dry compounds. And I'm not sure that will matter, because I think the bulk of the race will be dry and they will not want to just use back-to-back soft tyres, but they will have changed compound as per the rule book. Here is Roland, V8 closing in here now as things get very, very dicey. You can see the dry line staying slightly on the way into turn 3, but it's not as clear as when the dry line starts to fade, the wet line starts to fade, I should say. The water building up slowly but surely around the track, and I think the shower may have passed now. Here goes V8 to the outside. There's good grip on the outside. This part of the circuit, there is still vertical rain falling. We had some diagonal rain across the screen at other points on the circuit. Fairly gentle wind, but the weather has changed rapidly for us, despite that wind, that low wind. And it's actually quite heavily raining right now. Berikos, will he decide that he can't do another lap here on the dry tyres? No, he's quite happy staying out. He's a lot less happy right now as he tries to get out of the way here of the drivers in front. Careful not to reverse on the main racetrack there. Roland and Jose pit. V8 stays out on the dry tyres. Don't forget Vader, who has now pitted the intermediates. Wow, really bashing the car up in the air there on the yellow Cheetos over the exit, managing to stay on track limits, but not treating his car with a great deal of sympathy. Vader, they don't build the Team Mega cars for they don't build them gently, they over-engineer them, because they're handling, instead of mega loads, they're handling mega drivers in the car, especially Vader, who is a driver who will always push his car to the absolute limit. V8 looked a little slow at that point on the circuit. Was that a little spin, or was that just struggling? Look at the rain teeming down into the drivers' faces right now. What a challenge this is going to be for them. And yet, just no grip at the apex there. The conditions just have changed so quickly. You could hear the rear tyres spinning up there for him as he comes through the corner. And he's spinning again, his V8 from the lead of the race. Another spin from V8 here as he spins, respins, and the soft tyres just cannot hang on here. He's on maybe 60% throttle at best, but it's the gear shifts when the revs suddenly change and the revs suddenly drop and then re-spike again that is causing the problems for our racers in these low grip conditions. Heading into the pit lane, Vader takes the lead, retakes the lead and picks up one of those famous turn 1 penalties. Vicinity is racing with Jose Luis Cervantes here. Vicinity must have made an early... No, he started on the Inters and lived with them, watching the radar carefully, has saved a pit stop from the drivers who are racing with him, and he's gained positions as a result. His intermediate tyres will be in a better heat cycle than the Inters of Jose Luis, but Vicinity really wasn't expecting this amount of rain here for the drivers. I wonder if Vicinity's intermediates are actually already starting to drop off their grip because of overheating them earlier on. He did well to stay on those intermediates, did Vicinity. The rain is around. It's quite heavy in parts of the circuit. It's quite light in this part of the circuit actually. It's just the spray and the standing water, which I anticipate will clear quite quickly when it stops raining. Of course, Mappy's in 6th place, chasing down Solshock right now, as Roland is in 3rd, Vicinity is in 4th ahead of these. Well, I would say that, but they're actually very close to one another. Was that a penalty being paid potentially just there? It was. So yes, Vicinity and Jose and Vicinity getting by Roland here. Such is the difficulty there of taking those penalties. Around the outside goes Vicinity, unfortunately leaving the space on the inside, costing him time, and it's absolutely throwing it down the rain on the way into the final couple of corners. I really can't be sure what the current conditions are at any given corner here. Drivers are driving purely on instinct and feel, as Roland is in 3rd position, Jose Luis in 2nd, and Vader leading on 12.4 seconds in front of the rest of the grid here. Jose hanging on very nicely in P2. Let me know what you're seeing and noticing on the engineer link if you're tracking what our drivers are up to, if you're noticing anything in particular from the drivers. I'm going to give Hector another try and see whether I can whether he has gone back to race conditions. He has gone back to race conditions. I'll live with this for a little while for you, and I'll try and stick with it, but let me know if it becomes too confusing to see what's happening on the circuit, as we'll give you an extra POV as well. We'll try to anyway. I can't actually see what I'm looking for. In fact, I've got 0 option for POVs. It looks like nobody is connected from my perspective. Why is Beragos down in 13th place, I wonder? What happened to Beragos? Was that a spin for him, or just an ill-timed? He did spin earlier on stream, but it didn't look like enough to put him in 13th and last position here. Beragos 2nd in the championship. Beragos has had a hell of a run so far. As we have a look then at the current scores for Beragos, mostly it's been 2nd places for him in the run so far. As I go back here, I will see it's 2/3, 2 seconds, and the latest race was a 4th. So he really has had a very, very strong run so far. But Vader winning all but one of the rounds of our championship, of course. Beragos with the latest win, breaking that win streak, which dated back, I believe, to October or even September 2025 from the previous season for Vader. So it was something that we may never see again here at the VR Sim Racing World Championship. Beragos in 12th, V8 in P13 now, has gone for the soft tyres early on. As you can see, the dry line developing, but the rain is still falling gently. B8 must be feeling fairly confident of this decision. I think we should probably ride with V8 here and get an idea of exactly what is happening on board with him. Vader leads. Closest driver to one another would be Run DMC on Pumpkin here in P10. Let's have a look at how close he is. Very close indeed. So he is hunting down Pumpkin King in that 9th position. Run DMC this season. Now in 3rd in the championship. Going double podium the last 2 rounds. Can he possibly do it from 10th place? Vader pits off the intermediate tyres. These two are still on the intermediate tyres. Albeit that Pumpkin Kings have been on the car since the start of the race. Run DMC's much fresher tyres and inside lane option there. There was possibly a hint of a touch between Run and Pumpkin King. Let's try and get a replay of that. Pumpkin King on the outside of our picture right now, which you can clearly see with the driver tag. Run DMC was a bit late on the run here. He turns across. No, actually no touch on this view. Run DMC losing it, using too much curb in these wet conditions for what's good for him. But unfortunately, that was Matt having a spin on the run through the final sector of the race. Let's have a look. Final sector of the lap, not the race. He took a penalty and then spun. The car acting unpredictably for him. It's those curbs again. Oh, and an overcorrection this time. Matt Debater keeping 2 wheels on the race circuit. That was very impressive. But yeah, slight overcorrection on the steering wheel puts him down to 9th position. The leader of the race is now Jose Cervantes, and his teammate Roland is right behind him here for Team Cyan, who have made good decisions so far with the tyres. Looks like they are going to be a little bit later than Vader was. In fact, Jose staying out. Both drivers convinced that the cars will drive faster at the moment on the intermediate tyres. 1:16.4, 1:16.6 for these two on the previous lap. I'm really interested what Vader is doing. A 1:15 flat. Let's have a look on this lap. It won't give us... He only recently pitted for those dry tyres. What have we got? A 36.0. Some of that time is, of course, coming slowly out of the pit lane. Have we got a driver who has stayed on soft tyres longer than Vader? I don't think so. Vader was perhaps a touch premature on the tyre choice there. Difficult to say for sure. Risbach saying multiple spins for Beragos on those soft tyres. Vader is now on those soft tyres. Keen to get back into winning ways, Vader. The possibility of going unbeaten in the season has now passed by for Vader, especially in the feature races. But I don't know. I know the drivers run very extreme setups in the dry. Whether they have gone for a compromised setup today or simply have to live with being a bit cautious in these wet conditions. Vader is off. There are the soft tyres. There's a huge puddle offline that will cool the tyres. It will make the tyres extra damp as well. As Jose Luis Cervantes now pits. This extended wet running may save the drivers a lap in terms of the fuel. It's lap 12 of 53, but now they're at complete guesswork as to what they think the strategy will be able to play out for them in terms of what tyres they change to. Vader hoping to get by Jose, does get by Jose in the pit lane, but Jose is actually on his way out of the pit lane right now. Vader should fly by. Now, in the race last year, it was the exit here that was absolutely lethal. Coming out this side of the racetrack is soaking wet. Jose was very, very wise to exit so cautiously there. What a great run we've got here. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Some absolute superstars in these positions right now. And they, I believe, are on the inters. Jose comes out in front of them on the medium dry tyres, of course. Pumpkin King has been on his intermediate since the very start of the race. He may have saved a pit stop, but it hasn't saved him a great deal of race time yet. V8 with those purple streaks on his PSV Racing team colours. You don't see those on anybody else's car. Run DMC then in that 7th place, eyeing up a potential podium on pace today's Run DMC, but right now struggling in 7th and needing to get onto some dry tyres. Look at the amount of spray offline though. The trouble is, that looks like it's going to take quite a while for the track to fully dry. So one tiny mistake, one wheel on a curb that happens to be slightly wetter than the previous curb is going to be difficult. V8 ran the outside of Pumpkin King. V8 on the soft tyres. Pumpkin King clearly beaten there, and that's a good indicator for Pumpkin King if he needed one, that the dry tyres are faster if someone goes around the outside despite the damp conditions. Christo struggling around the final corner there, but in 10th place right now as Amax in 12th. Beragos is in 13th place. Fortunes are somewhat reversed between Beragos and Vader from the previous round. It was Vader who had trouble in the start of the previous round and was tracking at the back of the race for the first third or so. Roland leads ahead of Solshock. Roland still on the intermediate tyres for the time being. Not for long though. Roland goes in on lap 14 of the 53. Roland using the race number I used last year, and he's put my name on his helmet in tribute to that. So Vicinity and Roland pit. Mappy likewise. Solshock leads the race, still on the intermediate tyres. Solshock, is he too long on those inters? Has he not had dry runners around him to help him gauge? And I think that is the terrible situation of finding Beragos after 15 laps. He has now been lapped by the current leader of the race. That will undo itself, but Vader's not far away from this run. This is Vader's view of life at the moment, and I don't know if he can see Beragos up front. Vader spins again! Can you believe what we're seeing here? Vader, the reigning world champion, spins for the second, or goes off track, I should say, for the second time here. Let's see, I think it was just touching a slightly wetter portion of the asphalt. Is it this outside curve? Look at the puddle. That was what did it for Vader. It's just taking the normal dry line while the racetrack is wet and you've got slick tyres on. Vader, soft tyres. Unfortunately, the drivers will choose softs after a rain shower because it helps them with tyre warm-up. They are the most viable tyre to run, but of course, by the time you get up to speed with the softs, they're virtually past their best. So it really is a balancing act here. Solshock finally pits from the lead of the race. Vader will now resume the lead of the race, but he's got Jose Luis Cervantes right behind him. Our Mexican driver against our Spanish Lord of the Sith here. Jose Luis Cervantes P2. Roland in third position, still in the background there of this podium battle. Solshock still in the pits. Will he emerge? Oh, there's V8 almost taking his teammate out. V8, unfortunately, as he exits out of turn 1. Just try and change things around for you a little bit, give you a bit of Matt Debater in picture. This though, almost hitting his teammate. You can see how wet that pit lane is. Oh, wow, so close from V8 and Solshock to utter disaster. Nil point for the team. That could have been. Run DMC in 7th, AMAC in 8th. Got Matt Debater right behind him, as you can see picture in picture on your lower right of your screen. Matt tagging the apex curb quite neatly, but then a half-second penalty for his teammate as well. Mappy's in 11th. Beragos now up to 12th position, I think. Has unlapped himself, yes, and he is on the correct tyre for the conditions for the time being anyway. So we will see a change of tyre later in the race. The biggest concern for the drivers today here at this, and we've lost Christo to a mechanical. Christo is out of the race, unfortunately, with a failure on the car. So out of the race. We're down to 12 now, as Christo has departed, unfortunately. He often joins the live chat after that, but that's pretty tricky. Rent's asking, is Beragos watching the ice hockey final in parallel? Yeah, it could well be. I don't know if Beragos is an ice hockey follower. I think you have to be if you're Finnish. A bit like being into rally. I don't think it's actually an option in Finland. Saunas, ice hockey, rallying, I think has to be. Yellow flag on the circuit for the car most immediately in front. That's Pumpkin King who's gone off. Again, I don't think it's raining harder, but the drivers are still pushing on these exit curbs despite the amount of spray kicked up off the curbs. Just stay within the asphalt here. Switzerland versus Finland. Nice. Okay, is that like a world championship? Is it a World Cup or something? As Vader comes on through, there is another. I can't really say those two words in comparison. There's a global tournament coming up, isn't there, which we're not allowed to make mention of in any way. It is the World Tournament of ice hockey, is it? Okay, thanks, Rance. You've got to be really careful this time of year in this sports cycle. Vader, P1, 7.3 seconds, just puts a lap on Pumpkin King, who very kindly gets out of the way. Roland has taken Jose now. Did Jose have a problem? I wonder. Well, if he did, he had it earlier on. Then our replay allows us to see. Jose down to third place then on the medium tyres. So is Roland. Brave drivers to go onto the mediums that take their time to heat up. But they're looking at their long run here. Some drivers mentioned to me that they could be up to 4 laps short of fuel in ultimate race conditions. We've had some slower wet race conditions, but if you have had a traction oversteer moment, or you've been sideways and spun, you've used a bit more fuel than the drivers who haven't, and you've used it a bit more than perhaps you planned, making extra pit stops as well. But we will see. I would have thought drivers getting very critical with fuel before the end of the race. We do make them have to do a little bit of race management here at SVR for the conditions of our top tier of single-seater racing. Solshock in 4th position, 20 seconds away from Vader out there, as we've got Beragos down at the back. V8 is currently in the pits. Off the soft tyres, fixing damage for V8, but he has used those softs for some time now. This could reward drivers who are brave enough to put the mediums that will take longer to heat up and harder to maintain. Drivers are still using the curbs here in the wet conditions. This is Run DMC up against Vicinity on the view as you watch Matt Debater here, lower right corner. Run DMC splashing into the puddles on the approach into turn 4. Turn 3, excuse me, we're heading towards turn 4 now. Weird numbering here at this Red Bull Ring. They make up a turn 2 where there isn't one, and then they double account for turn numbers through 4 and 5. I'm not too in love with the way they attribute numbers to this racetrack. Vicinity in P5, Run DMC in P6. Soft tyres for Vicinity, mediums for Run DMC, who up to this point in the season has shown quicker pace than Vicinity. There's a yellow flag in front of these drivers. Who is it? It's not Solshock. It's a driver who they are coming up to lap. Looks like it's Mappy or Lappy, who struggled through the final sector there. No delay caused for Vicinity and for Run DMC. We had a happy Mappy last time out. I think we're going to have a Lappy Mappy today. Vicinity just going a little wide through turn 1. Run DMC heading on through. Vicinity may well come back at Run DMC here. The orange and colour shift green colour scheme of the Liquid Gecko. Run DMC though nicely ahead of Vicinity at this stage of the action. Matt Debater closing in now in P7 and V8 in P8 appropriately enough. So AMAC is in 9th. We've got Beragos up to 10th now. His gap to Vader is the one to watch here, 1 minute and 9 seconds. So we will see whether Beragos can get back on the oh, we've had another driver off. I hope it wasn't Vader again. I think we're too far away from Vader on the track for it to be him. Oh, Vader is struggling through the wet patch on the exit of turn 5, but holding it together for now at least. His lead is 11.5 seconds. So if I could have a nice delta between P2 and Beragos, I think that would be an interesting one to be watching out for. Vader He's not impervious today, but he's certainly fast enough to spin and still be 11 seconds in the lead of the race. Roland ahead of Jose Luis Cervantes with Solshock in 4th and Run DMC in 5th place. Matt in 6th, passes Vicinity. That happens just slightly delayed on your screen, on your picture-in-picture screen, as we have another check of that one. Like a good slipstream, a little bit of boost being used. The driver's feeling more confident on the boost, but you put yourself onto the wet side of the circuit. Matt not overdoing the step aside to the inside of the track, trying to keep 2 wheels on the dry patch of asphalt, and doing so with great skill. Matt up into P6. He is 52 seconds away from Vader. Vicinity down to 7th position right now on those soft tyres. We've got medium tyres on the car for V8. He is 59 seconds away from Vader after just 21 racing laps. We have Beragos in 9th, Amac in 10th, who will be taking a penalty, and Vader will put a lap on Amac on lap 21. Amac has old intermediate tyres on, so old, those inters, they cannot be usable at this stage. He's definitely done something very different to the rest of the grid today. I don't think it's an experiment that has worked out, but the thing with the this race circuit that the G2 drivers found out last year was that the pit lane entry and exit are absolutely terrifying and make you think that you need the wetter tyres perhaps, or you've made the wrong choice. The rest of the track drying out, you can see the lighter coloured stripe on the asphalt there flowing with the racing line. Mappy still picking up a little splash of water through turn 8 that time out, as Vader comes up towards the lapping. No, he's half a lap away from his teammate there. Vader in P1, 14.4 seconds in the lead of the race. Tell me guys, watching on the engineer app, what are you spotting? Oh, there goes Vader again! Once again, this is turn 5, catching Vader out this time. Not a complete spin from him. But yeah, what are you learning in the engineer app as we have a look at this again from Vader? I'm sure we will see more spinning from different cars through today, but I don't think I've seen Vader this ropey since maybe season 1. Quite this amount of off-track and against the flow of the race, against the flow of form, I should say, for Vader this season. Something not quite right in these wet conditions. May have gone too aggressive on his setup to make a drivable car in these conditions. Still water, standing water and puddles on the outside of the circuit. The drivers still not really concerning themselves with taking leaving a wider margin, but that dry line is growing across the circuit now. Very little of the racetrack is showing up as having standing water, which you can see just to the left of the tyre marking, a sort of percentage of standing water it is. It's not active rain, it is the water on the surface of the track. So it looks like it is bone dry, certainly on the racing line. Whether it still is off the racing line will remain to be seen. Drivers come through until a driver goes onto a curb. I won't really be able to tell you. Here we are, both the Cyan Racing Team drivers taking this very carefully and very sensibly. There you can see it is still very wet offline. Solshock getting the soft tyres soaking wet and much cooler. It's not ideal. It will help with their tyre life a little bit as long as you don't spin, but Vicinity, it's a risky game to play. Vader into the pits again then. I don't think with damage, no, not with damage, and you can see how wet the pit lane is relative to the main section. We just cut to Mappy as he goes for a little sideways action and then tries to recover the car and does a neat little 720 pirouette. I'm quite sure what went wrong there for Mappy. Is this the case of the driver just pushing too hard onto the wet line? Yep, onto the curb. Those curbs, the grass sections are surprisingly wet. Thought he recovered the car, and then it spits him round. Cold medium tyres for Mappy, so not much in the way of a surprise for that situation to happen. Unfortunately, Black Evo watching behind his fingers. This is a frightening race with lots of drivers going off. We haven't even got to half distance yet but the racetrack is drying, and I don't believe the rain is predicted for any more for the duration of our race. Roland leads, Jose Luis Cervantes. These two drivers picking the medium tyres as the track started to dry out. Started, I think, on the inters. I think that's right, and have stuck with their decided strategy for the two of them. Roland's rears getting away slightly on the way out of turn 10, still has a near 1 second gap back to his teammate, who's been with us a much longer period of time, Jose Luis Cervantes, with Solshock in P3. Jose's results this season, I think, haven't been as strong as we've seen in previous seasons. He's managed a highest scoring round of round 3, which combined the sprint and sprint and race. Second in the sprint, fourth in the race, round 3. But he's and he got a 5th place the next round as well. But since then, he's been away from the top 6, and that is unusual to see for Jose Luis Cervantes. Such perhaps is the quality of the newcomers to the league, and the way that the game is being raised by our great S1 drivers. Solshock looking fantastic out there in P3, but the two drivers in front of him do have medium tyres, and so does Vader behind of him. Vader 22.6 seconds away from Roland's lead. The total time lost in the pit stop with a tyre change is around 25 to 26 seconds. Today here at the Red Bull Ring, despite the fact that it's a short track, it is a comparatively long pit stop. I wonder if the pit lane is the longest in ratio to the racetrack here. At the highest percentage of the race distance is covered in the pit lane here at the Red Bull Ring. Vader, oh, another big moment from Vader, lighting up those brand new medium tyres. Wow, what a hold from Vader. Fantastically stylish driving on the run through the corner, but when have you ever seen Vader struggling to this degree? It's not hurting his pace in a big way, but really very impressive recovery here as he rounds turn 9, cranks the opposite lock, and then just stops steering at the exact moment of the pivot of the race car about its axis. Vader hanging on to that one beautifully. Love to see it. He won't be feeling a lot of love in the car right now, but he is still in the net lead of the race. His gap just outside of the pit stop, but I think his underlying pace, notwithstanding the amount of off-track excursions for Vader so far. As Jose, well, we have said before, Vader really only knows one pace, and that is maximum speed. He goes into hyperdrive the minute the start lights go off, or shortly afterwards, if you can consider round 6 of the championship there was the Nürburgring Grand Prix, where he dropped to dead last. But yes, hyperdrive engaged at all times for Vader. Solshock in P3. Vader is off the circuit. Wow, this is insane from Vader. Now damage on the left front. In fact, again getting the tyres a little bit damp through turn 8. That didn't affect the car. Was he actually planning a pit entry here? But it's turn 9 that's upset the balance of the car, has it? No, it's the approach to turn 10 and actually into the barrier. Props to the courage for that racing marshal there, who's just standing there as the car came directly to him, didn't move. Vader now in P4 lost a further 10 seconds to the outright leader Roland. He's got rear wing damage as well in recovery there, Vader, and now he's being passed by a driver who he has previously lapped, Pumpkin King. It is all going wrong for Lord Vader right now. Can his Mega Racing team engineer regather the composure of the almost always implacable Vader? It did sound when he talked to, it did sound earlier when he talked to me that he wasn't relishing the thought of driving this circuit today, and all the challenges this race was going to present towards him. But yeah, a massive issue then for Vader right now. I feel like continuing to watch Vader because he does appear to be more ragged than perhaps we've ever seen him post season 1. And into the pit lane, he's offline slightly. It's very easy to hit the pit wall on entry. Vader goes into the pits then now. Amazing to see. we'll give you some Jose Luis Cervantes stream next up, because he's the closest driver to somebody else on the racetrack. Vader heading into an empty pit lane at the moment, and that's Run DMC wide onto the wet grass as well for Run DMC on those medium tyres, regathering the car and staying 6th position. Blink and you miss it, the action today. This is astonishing from some of our drivers who have the most consistent race performances to this point. And Run DMC and Vicinity and Vader there having a absolute nightmare in the Styrian Mountains of Austria. This is Vader on board with him. Let's just go off board, shall we, and just see as he catches Vicinity. He's dropped behind Vicinity, but has made more pit stops than Vicinity. I think the pit stop plans are out of the window today pretty much. Vader's just gone straight into the back of Vicinity, offline as well. Vader in a hurry here to rescue his race, losing his patience a little bit, I fear, into turn 4. But he didn't make the overtake, didn't, I don't think, cause damage to Vicinity's car. Vicinity is struggling on those soft tyres, needs to get off those softs. We are almost at lap 30 of the 53. I don't think the medium tyre window is open. The sun is coming out, you can see on Jose Luis Cervantes' stream there, bottom right of your screen. So that will bring some hope to the drivers who have struggled in the rain. Both Vader and Beragos, our championship leaders, are 8th, 7th and 9th, 7th and 8th positions. They will be soon enough. Absolutely incredible here. Vader coming through, will use the boost rather than risk a pass on the brakes again. I think needs to get back onto the dry line, does Vader, and he's got better braking performance as long as he hasn't cooled his tyres too much. You see that little dip on the curb there? Beautiful detail, because exactly in that little dip on the approach on the outside there into turn 3 is a puddle sitting where you would exactly imagine a puddle to sit. I think the most accurate puddle situation rendering on a sim has to be, for me, the bomb hole at Snetterton in ACC. It is just basically a mud quagmire in the rain. Fantastic detail that they've put in, and I can tell you from personal experience that that puddle is exactly there. Mappy, the woes for Team Mega continue as Mappy is going swimming right now and has hurt the car as well. Mappy in the fog, in the mist of the spray. Tell me the rain isn't coming again. Now he puts himself sporting. Oh dear. Oh dear, Mappy. Your kindness did you a disservice there, Mappy, unfortunately. You know exactly what just went on for Mappy there, and that is heartbreaking. Jose leads with a very consistent, very smart strategy so far, Jose and Roland. Oh, Roland's gone off as well. Come to a complete stop, so it must have been a full-on 360 here off the circuit. Wow. Wow. Okay, incredible. Brum, I think, has just joined the room, I think, there. So we may be able to speak with him. And there, oh, dear me, what a horrible situation for Roland as Jose leads the race. Solshock is in the pit lane. And I will see if I might be able to find a way for Brum to join us on co-commentary. Bear with me, because it does take me a little bit of organising to get ready. I will just sort this out. Let's see if I can get him in here for you. I'll just need to mix my audio a little bit as well. So it just takes me a moment there. And if he does join, then hopefully we will be able to hear from him. I just need to do that. And hands up if I need a producer or a director to help me out with here. I know we are working on these things here in the league. My apologies. It does distract slightly, and I do apologise for that. It's just a bit tricky for me to organise the entire stream myself here when we're doing such advanced changes. Jose Luis leads Roland in P16 right now. I'm just going to see, have we been able to get Brum here? Yep, indeed. we've actually managed to do this before with Brum. So yeah, just telling him his mic is hot when he comes in. This is Roland, 16 seconds away from Jose's lead. Solshock out of the pits in P3. V8 is in 4th. Run DMC in P5. And Vader in P6. Vader, no further spins at this stage, I believe. Remember, though, on the outside of the circuit there, you can still see some standing water. Sun is definitely out now. As we have Beragos in 8th position. Can't believe that the S2 drivers are already done, are they, in their S2 stream? No spoilers, please, but hopefully, yeah. Cheese and Rice Batman says Black Evo. Yeah, don't get that one, sorry. Sorry, Black Evo. Jose has lapped Beragos. Beragos in P8 here. And that is Vader in 6th position. Jose Luis Cervantes. This could be quite a strong finish for Jose. Let's have a look. Jose has won one race so far, but it has been a long time. He's had 28 races with us here in the top tier, and he has won one of those races. Not this season, Jose. This could be a fabulous run if he can bring this home. Vader is still struggling. He's actually deliberately running off on the wet side of the circuit. Is he planning to try and run these mediums all the way to the end of the race here? Reminder that drivers are having to protect their fuel loads. They were underfueled for a dry condition race, but I think there's been so much drama in the wet, I don't think they would have been able to save that much in the way of fuel. Every time they lose traction on the rears. There, you can see Beragos cooling the medium tyres as well. I'm very surprised to see this. Does it surprise you in the live chat that drivers on medium tyres are cooling them by running deliberately over the wet line here? Vicinity has recently pitted, come out in 9th place. We saw him defending from Vader a few laps ago. Pumpkin King is in 10th place. AMAC is in 11th, some 45 seconds away from Pumpkin King. And I think we've lost another driver, unfortunately, from our race. Jose, P1, Beragos just behind him on track, a complete lap behind him in reality. And that's AMAC ahead of Jose, just making his way by here as he runs through those medium tyres. A reminder, normally we have to change dry compound of tyre and use a different one. I don't think that is in operation now because the drivers have used intermediates, and it was declared to be a wet race early on in the session. Roland in P2, losing 17 seconds total now to his teammate. No damage actually on Roland's car. Hell of a drive so far from Solshock in P3. He's P3 having just pitted, only 38 seconds away from the lead of the race. Bearing in mind that a pit stop is going to take 25 seconds at least, maybe even more in these wet conditions. So I would imagine the drivers are trying to minimise the amount of pit stops they've got left, and danger points that they're going to have to try and navigate here today. So I don't know if Brum is going to be able to make it, but I've got him on standby. He said he may be able to make it to be with us in our chat today. He'll be joining Cole though. He has been engineering for his team in S2. So yeah, you have to just bear that in mind as well. He won't necessarily know everything that's going on in the race. Let's try and give you a new driver to watch. Haven't ridden with Vicinity for a little while. I don't know if you're particularly interested in how Vader is doing at the moment. 37 seconds away from the lead is Solshock. He's just got 4 seconds advantage over V8 here. Solshock has more recently pitted and has more boost left on the car as well. There is Run DMC in P5 on all medium tyres, and Vader is in P6, 51 seconds from the lead of the race. I do believe that he and the driver in P1, Jose Luis Cervantes, will have to pit at least once more before the end of the race. Lap 36 of the 53. And Vader continues then. He's got 11.5 seconds gap to Matt who's in 7th place. Has spent a lot of boost, Matt, but that could be good for later on because it's easier to work out your fuel usage if that is if you've used all your boost already. Beragos in 8th. The reason that is because the amount of laps and portions of laps remaining on your display are based on your average usage throughout the race to that point. If you have not used your boost, you can end up miscalculating simply because the average was incorrect for your final few laps. If you skew your boost to the very end of the race, you need to leave that margin or spend your boost before you get to marginal, and you can make a correction. Vader in 6th position then, 4 seconds away from Run DMC. Been quite quiet for me today, chat. In the live audience, I would appreciate you helping out a little bit before Brum does or does not make it to be with us for the race. I'm very glad to have everyone with us, and if all of you are watching the engineering screens, you can see spikes, you can see changes of position before or in tandem with the point at which I see them. So it is very very well appreciated if you can. Vader in 6th position. It still looks, I think the sun might be setting slightly there in the background. It looks very misty in towards turn 8 and this portion of the circuit looks very misty in the sunset, which appears to be happening. I didn't think we were starting the race day so late in the day, and we only have a 2-time time multiplier on. 48 minutes, nearly 49 minutes have elapsed. This lap 38 of the 53. Matt in P7, Beragos in 8th place. Could be a season worst result looming its head at Beragos at this stage. He took the last win, the most recent win, after a very long uninterrupted streak from Vader. Vicinity's in 9th place. Pumpkin King is in 10th in the slightly lighter version, or certainly it's got plenty of white elements to it on the Hector Motorsports entry. AMAC in the Gecko Racing colours, which are relatively recent to our broadcast. Welcome Gecko Racing, of course, to our franchise race teams, as Jose Luis Cervantes racing for Team Cyan, which was previously known as a different team, and then prior to that was also Cyan. It's a little bit like the situation at Sauber, where the ownership didn't really change, but the title sponsorship certainly did from time to time, the manufacturer tie-in. Fun fact for the non-German speaking audience among you, I've been learning a little bit of German and I found out the word Sauber means clean. I don't know what that means when it comes to Peter Sauber or Peter Clean, the owner of the Sauber race team, but I found that quite amusing this last couple of weeks when I learned that. V8 is in 4th. Run DMC is right with him here, and Vader 4th, 5th, and 6th. Drivers who usually fight over our podium. Should be entertaining as we run on then. V8 in that 4th place ahead of Run DMC and then Vader as they come through. The tyre differential, Run DMC on old mediums, as is V8 with Vader on slightly newer mediums, but still dipping through different portions of standing water on this final sector of the race. It's a misty evening here in Austria. I don't know if we are likely to get any more rain. We certainly weren't expecting more rain. It's not randomized. It seemed on mine to let us know when you need more German input. Always. Always, friends. Yes, good to hear from you. Yeah, well, you know I'm not much on the swearing, Renz, so it's all good. Clean professional racing terminologies, definitely. At the moment, I'm learning how to get on and off and order a train ticket. So, V8 defending hard. Run DMC dropping back behind them, and here is Vader in P5, and the drivers are proceeding here. Great run, V8 and Vader. They do like racing each other. Very respectful, but hard and incredibly tight racing between the two. Vader all over the apex of turn 8 there. He's not taming this car at all. Jose gets off his soft tyres. Roland comes into the pits, will come off his mediums. Solshock taking second at this stage anyway, as Vader powers on through. Where's Red today, Rens? Anyway, why isn't he watching and with you? Apex equals Vertex. Nice. Okay, that is interesting for German. I've got another one for you, Rens. My Duolingo app tells me that Germans pronounce the currency euro, euro. Is that correct or incorrect? Because when I try and copy it, it doesn't. It's not what it sounds like at all. Jose leads the race. Here is Vader, though, in P4, chasing down V8, who is not giving him an inch here on the inside. So correct as it is pronounced euro, which is, I find, terrifically ironic, I have to say. Not the fact that Germans pronounce it that way, but that the Spanish, the French, the Greeks all pronounce the word for their currency incorrectly or differently. V8 with a massive spin there round. So that's huge for V8. What on earth just went down? He goes wheel to wheel. Though they don't make contact at this point. It was the gap between turn 6 and 7 as they turn in. What happened? Oh, he was just oh, I don't know, half a car width too wide. Big damage for V8. He did get tagged by Vader, I believe, but only after he'd already lost the car, and Vader could not make avoiding action. Too late in the day there for him. Jose leads the race by 12.9 seconds on genuine pace, having just about 11 laps remaining in our race. 12 laps total there. Oh, I see my chat is going. Ren says, was he tagged? I think they did make contact, but only after V8 was already lost it. Just slightly wide on the exit. Pressed the throttle at the normal time, and I think had two wheels on the wetter portion of the racetrack, or non-racetrack portion there. Jose Luis Cervantes in P1 leads the race by 14 clear seconds from Solshock. If we had a Jose Solshock Roland podium, that would be terrifically popular, I'm sure. But Vader has got something to say. 24.5 seconds away from the lead. I think he still has to put in a pit stop there, but only 1.5 seconds for Lord Vader in P4 from P3's Roland, who is Jose Luis Cervantes' teammate. Vader loves riding over those horrible curbs on the exit of turn 10. But I would find that far too frightening to do in race conditions. But as we know, he does have the power of the Force to protect his tyres, lift the car sense of gravity, I think, and always have his hyperspeed, his hyperdrive on. Vader P4 as we join him on board for the time being anyway. Try and find you some other action. Run DMC is half a second away from Matt Debater, our session host. Big thanks to Matt for running the lobby today, especially if you're not loving the racing at the moment from your seat or from the steward decisions. Vader losing ground right now to Roland as he runs through. I wasn't sure if I just saw a spark artifact on the screen or a flash of moisture run by our camera position. I would imagine it was a cooling spark that flew up in the camera for Vader. It's a bumpy circuit here. Of course, it's a really old school circuit. It was revamped, but much of the track character remaining the same, and the sub-base under several sections of the track will not have been dug out and completely relayed, so the bumps will generate time after time. Of course, a lot of moisture in the earth as well, causing those bumps. Vader in P4 chasing down Roland, 3/4 of a second separated by them there for the last step on the podium. Vader is 25 seconds away from Jose, and I believe still has to make a pit stop now. Can Jose get 12 racing laps out of the soft tyres as the fuel wears off? We'll look at comparative fuel loads as well momentarily. Jose, that'll be a long stint on these soft tyres. If he can get them home, he will do his level best to get there. That little diversion there is the short track version of this racetrack. Many accidents have been had by forgetting you were on the short track version of the Red Bull Ring. Solshock P2, 18.3 seconds. Will his mediums get a further 8 laps into the race? I think he will get 8 laps out of those tyres. So if he can stay within the pit stop window of Jose Luis Cervantes and Jose's tyres drop off, or one of these drivers have miscalculated their fuel, we're in for a show-stopping final portion. Run DMC is in 5th, has got past Matt Debater, as I'm sure you were watching picture in picture. Vader has a good run here on Roland, who defends kind of to the middle, doesn't over-defend to the inside, and not to be intimidated by Vader. Here is Roland, our newcoming Uruguayan born, I believe, possibly, but United States connected server identity is Roland. Vader around the outside, working very hard for that pass, makes it by, and Roland settling at the moment for 4th. Could be better later on in the race, who knows, as we continue to the end of this race. Just 8 racing laps remain to us. Run DMC is in 5th position. It's had a great race to this point. Run DMC in 5th. Beragos swapping places now with Matt. We might be in time to catch that in the replay buffer. I think we are, in fact, in time. Looks like Beragos, a little bit of boost left, but wasn't using it here. Oh, okay, Matt just going deep into the corner. And as Beragos take that opportunity, doesn't use the boost. How tempting would it have been to use the boost in that scenario? But drawing alongside, and a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Very dangerous with open wheel races, of course. You get a wheel locked between a front and a barge board, and cars will flip or spear each other into the nearest barrier. V8 in 8th, once again V8 in 8th, and Vicinity in P9. Pumpkin King is in 10th, AMAC closing in on Pumpkin King. Here, I'll try and keep an eye on the gaps further up the race. Roland has not been able to stem the pace of Vader, or to stay with Vader here. AMAC, I think, is the closest driver to another on our racetrack right now. A little bit of boost remaining, a little bit of fuel remaining, not a lot, but more than Pumpkin King in front. Will we see drivers run out of fuel at the end of this race? I think it is quite a possibility. If you see drivers suddenly going a second or more slower, they are obviously switching the engine modes to a fuel-saving mode, so they can try and make the end of the race. AMAC P11, Pumpkin King P10 here, but still fighting like it was for a podium. The 2 orange helmeted cards of Pumpkin King and AMAC. AMAC going side by side. They tag on the short run between turns 5 and 6. AMAC doesn't force the issue around the outside, where we know it is wet still on those curbs, the exit of the corner. And still some moisture through turn 8. You just have to drive on the asphalt and not abuse the curbstones here. Still, after that prolonged rain period at the start of our race, just 2 tiles of the 8 tiles we had for the race, so 1/4 of the race distance was expected to be raining, but we had plenty of moisture hanging around there. Good overtake, that one at the back of the grid for AMAC. Jose Luis Cervantes leads by 19.7 seconds now, as the blue flags were being waved, or still are being waved. They still are being waved for Vicinity. The marshals just not taking those blue flags in very quickly. Kind of surprising me there. Don't forget, Solshock may make the end of this race, whereas Jose will have to protect these tyres in order to do so. Solshock is still within a pit stop of our race leader after 48 racing laps. We are nearing Grand Prix distances now here. I think we're up to about 250 kilometers. Whereas a Grand Prix distance has to run 300 kilometers, or 260 for Monaco. Monaco coming up, of course. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the Monaco Grand Prix. I remember I was trying it out in a Assetto Corsa with the 2026 car, and I said, with the current engine settings and straight mode available to the drivers, Monaco is going to be amazing. And what have they done? They've switched off straight mode and down-rated the engine deployment once again. So that sucks. Rizbak saying, everyone looking okay for fuel from the engineer view. Amazing info. Thanks so much, Rizbak. I think some drivers have had to be more careful than others, but the rain will have helped matters no end. Vader is catching Solshock to break Solshock's heart. And I think most of our watching audience, if he does get by, I think Solshock losing time on that lap inexplicably there. The mediums will be going off. It's lap 49 of 53 here. Rizbak with all the research, which is great to hear. Solshock in second place and Vader in P3. The number 1 on the car, of course, for our reigning S1 champion. He won with a fabulous display last year. This year has been even better, would you believe? Or if Hector is wrong, a lot of them are in trouble. Yeah. Yes, well, there is that. There is that. Let me see. Lots of drivers in the red now with 4.5 laps left to go. Vader caught Solshock, but hasn't been able to pass very quickly. I think part of that was down to Solshock making a mistake on that lap. 13.7. No, 14.0, lap 49, 13.8, lap 48 for Solshock. Nothing obvious, nothing huge from him. Gambone saying, thinking the same thing. Oh, please don't deny Solshock a P2 here, Vader. You know Vader is going to take absolutely no prisoners, though, and he may still have a hope that Jose's softs will not make the distance. Jose is doing a fantastic job of minimizing the wear on those tires. Let me know your top tire saving tip in the live chat. It won't help Jose right now, but I'm interested. I think taking higher gears going through, run at 5%, but shows lap 54. So run DMC at 5%, showing him through to lap 53. Wow, okay, very interesting. I'm surprised we're not more marginal, but yeah, I was only given my information from one driver, but it was just the amount of the race I think that was wet today. Here comes Vader. Solshock, half a defense from Sol into turn 1. Drivers tend not to like making an overtake into turn 1. It's so easy to retaliate down into turns 3 and turns 4, 5. Vader has a small amount of his boost remaining, more than Solshock. Vader is using it now to go side by side, but he's tripped up earlier today trying to make these overtakes on the brakes. Solshock makes it, I have to say, and I hate to say, somewhat easy for Vader there, and dropping down. Let's have a look, as this was turn 1. Replay, rather long on this one. But Team Cyan driver Roland closing in on Solshock here as well. Vader easy to the inside, but it was Sol who just went too late on the brakes, unfortunately. Car refusing to turn in right there, and Solshock is now in 3rd position, just 0.7 of a second from Roland here, who could still make this a double podium for Team Cyan. That would be an amazing performance. I think Vader has put in a top draw performance, but you expect it, frankly. His pace difference to the rest of the field is so strong that you kind of expect Vader to make his way back, and I was surprised he didn't at the previous round in Nürburgring. I was surprised that he didn't have it to give there, but Vader, we were tracking Vader's gap to Beragos throughout the Nürburgring Grand Prix, and it was really surprising me that he wasn't gaining ground. Beragos picking up the only time that Vader has not been able to win the race so far this season. Here comes Roland on Solshock. The leader of the race will be nearing the start of his final lap of the race so far. And it's Roland down the inside on Solshock, denying possibly Solshock a famous podium here. Oh, wow, that's tough for Solshock to endure, I would imagine, as he loses another position then. Solshock, 2 podiums in his SVR history, none this season, no wins either for Solshock, but it could have been podium number 3 as we find Jose Luis Cervantes, who is currently leading the race through the first sector of the final lap. 23 seconds. There's no chance he's pitting now. He just has to keep it on the island, Jose. 3.1 seconds. Vader is ahead of Roland, who is gapping Soulshock at an alarming rate. Run DMC is in 5th place. Beragos 6th. V8 in 7th and Matt in 8th. But we've got Vicinity 9th, Pumpkin 10th, and AMAC in 11th. We started with 13 drivers. We're down to 11 on this round of the championship. Jose Luis Cervantes with maybe 2 pixels of fuel remaining on the car. He's calculated this. What an amazingly sensible, calm, well thought out and brilliantly driven race this has been from Team Cyan, but especially from Jose Luis Cervantes, who will finish with mere fumes left in the fuel tank. Some 23 seconds in front of Lord Vader. It's Jose who wins at the Red Bull Ring with a drive he will never forget. Here comes Vader to come home from dead last to 2nd place. Takes a penalty there on the final run down, but Vader finishing in P2, minimising his losses and his damage to his championship, but his win streak has not been restarted. Vader home in 2nd position, and it's a podium for Roland in P3. Another great performance from him. Soulshock home in a creditable 4th, and we have Run DMC home in that P5 position. Here comes Beragos to round the final couple corners. Beragos home in 6th. Big disappointment for Beragos. Worst result of the season for him so far. Likewise for V8. And Matt Debater home, the last driver on the lead lap in P8. Vicinity 9th, Pumpkin King 10th, AMAC 11th. But what a win for Jose today. Yeah, that will be super popular. Double podium for the Team Cyan drivers. You know I don't give driver of the day to the winner. I'm loath to give it to Vader, but yeah, do let me know what your driver of the day performance is, and I will make a decision. I've got a pretty good idea in my mind who that is, but you let me know. Jose wins the race then, only his 2nd win of all time at SVR with us. We've got Vader in P2 and Roland home to complete our Team Cyan 1-3 podium. Soulshock in 4th. Denied by a very small margin, and Run DMC in 5th. Beragos in 6th. V8 had the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.222, and Matt home in 8th place. Vicinity, Pumpkin King, AMAC, Christo, and Mappy complete our provisional grid. I'm going to give driver of the day to Roland for coming home in P3 because Jose needs no further plaudits, and Vader has a big enough trophy cabinet already. So Roland, congrats for driver of the day. Congrats to Jose. What a fantastic win and a pleasant surprise to see another race not won by Vader. As predictable as that might well be. I really appreciate everybody for enjoying the race with us today. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's been a long stream, so I appreciate your patience and staying all the way to the end. Big thank you from me, Webbo. You can find me at WebboRed5 on most everywhere online. From me, Webbo, from us here at SVR, the Sim Racing VR World Championship. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.